Study e-contracts or electronic contracts. Electronic contract refers to a contract that takes place through e-commerce and sometimes without parties meeting each other. That is most of the times rather. It refers to commercial activities transacted electronically. Example, e-auction, that is electronic auction, or it is also called online auction, or online purchase through some e-commerce site like Luck on Luck and Flipkart and Amazon and so on. And online credit transfer through bank when you transfer money to someone's account from your account. So it's an electronic transaction and it's an electronic contract. So payment made via payment apps is also an electronic contract, and ATM cash withdrawal is also an electronic contract. And similarly, there can be other situations when you enter into contract electronically. So those are called e-contracts or electronic contracts. Now, earlier there were two problems with e-transactions and contracts, like writing, recording and storing the transactions. Like how we will write the content of that transaction, and how we will record it, otherwise we may lose it. So we need to record it, and after recording we need to save it somewhere as well. So that is storing of the transactions. And recognizable signatures. The signatures should be such that we can use as an evidence before the court. First of all, they should be usable before anyone at all. Then secondly, they are acceptable by the court of law as well. So these were the problems. Now, there were some benefits of electronic transactions as well, or the e-transactions, like they are cheaper, they are easier to perform, they are easy to store and easy to retrieve as well. Like you can bring back or recall them from wherever you have stored them. Now, there are four major types of e-contracts. Those are browser wrap contracts, shrink wrap contracts, click wrap contracts, email contracts. Now, what is a browser wrap contract? A browser wrap agreement is intended to be binding on the contracting party by the use of website. Like under such circumstances, if you are using a website, you are proceeding to use a website, it will be deemed that you agree to the terms and conditions of that website. So this is called browser wrap contract, or browse wrap contract, because you are browsing some site or some web portal. Such contracts are usually used by websites wherein the continued use of the website by a user is deemed to be acceptance of its revised terms of use and other policies. That you are continuing to use it means you have already accepted. It is deemed that you have accepted that. Now, shrink wrap contract. A shrink wrap contract is a license agreement where the terms and conditions of the contract are enforced upon the consumer as soon as he opens the package. Now, such contracts can be generally observed in case of buying software products. Like this, there is a license agreement or that contains information like indemnity by the user for any copyright or intellectual property rights violation of the manufacturer, some arbitration clauses, some limitations of liabilities of the manufacturer. So these all becomes binding on the user as soon as the user opens the package or opens the software product. So this can be online as well, like if you download an online software, and this can be offline as well, like you purchase a CD and you start installing the CD, then you can get the same messages that you get online. So those are like similar things. You get messages that you are continuing to use, means you have accepted it, or if you use this product, so all these terms and conditions will be binding upon you. So those are mostly in terms of software products. So these are called shrink wrap contract. Now, click wrap contract. Click wrap contract or click through agreements require user to manifest their consent or assent to the terms and conditions governing the license usage of software by clicking OK or I agree button on the dialog box. That is, a dialog box means something is written by the other party and some response you are giving. You are giving response by clicking OK or I agree button, and there is a caption that has been given by the other party. So there is a dialogue, means two people are involved. They are writing something and you are clicking on agreeing or OK button. Okay, so this way. So if you just click it, if you click OK or I agree, means you have agreed to the contract. So it is called click wrap contracts, means as soon as you have clicked it, the procedure of entering and or creating a contract is complete. So you clicked and it wrapped. It's the same way why these are called click wrap or browse wrap is because just you continue browsing. You browse means the contract, the performance or the creation of the contract has wrapped up or is complete, means you were offered and you accepted, there was a promise, there was an agreement, and they deem it enforceable in the court of law. So the process of creating the contract has been completed due to clicking or browsing on this way. Now, a user may choose to disagree or reject the terms by clicking cancel or closing the window. Such a user will not be able to buy or use service upon rejection. So if the user rejects this, if the user doesn't click OK or agree and clicks cancel or just moves on, closes the window, so he will not be able to use the product. So it is also a unilateral contract, like the terms and conditions are set by one party and other party has no standing to manipulate or negotiate the contract. Only one party is doing that and other party must agree. So it is on the basis of take it or leave it. So the user is in inferior position, whereas the service provider is in superior position. Now, unlike the shrink wrap agreements, where the terms and agreements are hidden inside a box. So there is a box, you need to open the box by clicking or scrolling or something like that. In case of click wrap agreements, all the terms and conditions are accessible prior to acceptance. This means they are clearly available and you can easily view them on your screen, either in the same window or through a hyperlink. You get a hyperlink, you click it and another window opens, and there you can find all the terms and conditions, or you can scroll down and view rest of the terms and conditions. Maybe some portion is available and the larger portion is not available, and it is available once you scroll down and down and down, and it comes up and then you can view it. Now the fourth type of e-contract is an email contract, and it also has two categories. Like the first category says the contract draft is signed up, scanned, or maybe unscanned copies as well. Once you do in unscanned copies, you do not sign. You just simply reply to that email accepting it, and later on, according to the law of land, it is enforceable in the court of law or not enforceable. It's a different thing. But these are conceptualized as email contracts. So you get a draft, like you get an offer and you respond it accepting the offer. So this way an agreement is created and it may later become a contract. And so emails are exchanged. There may be scanned copies as well. You get a draft and you print it and you mark your signatures, or you upload your signatures, you make your signatures and then you scan it and then you attach it with the email, and you can upload it that way as well, as we do in application forms once we apply for jobs like government jobs. And otherwise there can also be a link in your email that if you click it, it will be deemed that you have accepted that agreement. So this happens in the cases of when you create an account on some website and they send you an email, like they say verify your email. You just verify and it will be considered that you accept everything. And prior to that also you might have accepted that terms and conditions by clicking the checkbox, but here the agreement is fully complete, because otherwise they will not know who the other party is, but at least now they at least know that this is the email and the owner of this email is the other party. and it is easy for verification. Otherwise, there can be some bogus data filled in by someone. Email accounts can also be fake, but that's another thing. There has to be some sort of checks and balances. Then, after all, that people can find way out always, but still we need to create some checks and balances. Now, status of e-contracts in India. Indian Contract Act 1872 does not exactly and explicitly provide for e-contracts. That there is no provision in Indian Contract Act 1872 regarding e-contracts. The Information Technology Act 2000, this is commonly known as the IT Act. This governs e-contracts or its provisions. The IT Amendment Act gives power to the central government on ascertaining as to what mode of signatures are considerable as electronic signatures. So what mode of signatures are considered as electronic signatures, because electronic signatures can be marked by an electronic pen, or you can sign on a piece of paper and scan it and you get digital signatures. For directors, there were digital signatures issued by MCA, that is Ministry of Corporate Affairs, So what types of signatures will be considered as digital signatures depends upon the government what it considers as digital signatures. Sometimes you may get a card and your biometrics are stored there. And once you insert your card and you give access, it will be considered that you have signed the document. There may be a possibility where you need to verify your Aadhaar and you place your finger and your biometrics are verified. Sometimes those biometrics are in a device and you hold that device. You insert a device on some other device or electronic device and it reads your biometric data. Because you have placed your biometric data, you hold that biometric data. It will be considered that if this biometric data is being used, so only the owner is using. So those are also circumstances in this world, like in the case of e-residence in Portugal. If you are an electronic resident, if you want to become a resident of Portugal without going to Portugal and without living there, you can become an e-resident, that is electronic resident. You will be considered as you are a resident of that country, and you can open your bank accounts over there, you can open your companies over there, you can transact business in that country electronically. You may even hire employees, you can conduct on ground business transactions as well. Despite you are not present there, your employees over there may work on your behalf. And in case of purely online businesses, you can do online business and your company will be considered a Portugal company if you form a company over there. So all this will be done electronically, and you get a device like your credit or debit card, and you insert it with the help of a USB port on your computer or mobile phone or a laptop, and when they ask you sign the contract, you insert that device and it reads your biometrics, and then it considers that you have signed the document. So this is an example of digital signature as well, or electronic signature as well. Now, by bringing in section 10A stating that such contracts cannot become enforceable merely as they are in electronic form. So this is a provision in IT Amendment Act, and that was in 2008. So this provision was made. Earlier, if the documents were signed electronically, or the documents existed in electronic form, or the contract was in electronic form, it was not enforceable by law. With the help of IT Amendment Act or IT Act Amendment in 2008, now this provision was made, and after that it was legally valid that you enter into an electronic contract and it will be considered as valid. Now the IT Act imposes regulations on three parties to the electronic process transmission: the originator who originated the contract, the intermediary, and the addressee. If you want to take an example, you can take an example of some payment by payment apps. Like the originator may be anyone, like you originate, you are paying someone. Intermediary will be payment app company like vvfit.com, it's a payment company. Amazon Pay is also a payment company, and Google Pay, GPay is also a payment company, or a payment app company. So that is an intermediary, and the addressee is the person to who you are making the payment, like a shopkeeper or an online portal. So it considers, it imposes regulations, or it has regulations for these three parties. Now, evidence regarding to e-contracts. Evidence recorded or stored on electronic devices hold the status of evidence. Like if an evidence is recorded with the use of electronic device, then it will be considered as evidence in the court of law. Electronic evidence acceptable as evidence, and there was a case State of Delhi versus Muhammad Afzal. So it is acceptable. So in this case, State of Delhi versus Muhammad Afzal, this was ruled. Voice records taken with the help of various electronic devices and various modes are treatable as evidence. Like if somebody takes voice records of someone and produces it before the court, so it will be treated as an evidence. Like in the case of corruption charges, like the investigating agencies procures evidences, and if it procures some evidence, like somebody is talking and they record it and present it before the court of law, it will be taken as an evidence.